Friday night, the 90s. You coast into a parking lot under yellow sodium lights, bass thumping 3 rows deep, hoods pop, crowds drifting between builds you've only seen in magazines. No app brought you here, no ticket got you in. This was the mall parking lot meet, a free social network built on asphalt and word of mouth. It didn't just fade, it was dismantled, one force at a time. Long before Instagram feeds, TikTok algorithms, or crowded group chats organized our social lives, the local mall parking lot served as the physical homepage for suburban youth. If you wanted to find out who had the fastest Civic in town, who just finished a turbo swap, or where the weekend cruise was heading, you couldn't check a forum or a digital map. You simply drove to the lot. These asphalt arenas cost nothing to enter and required no invitation. Anyone with a working car, a friend in the passenger seat, or basic curiosity could roll up, park, and instantly join. Discovery was entirely organic, dictated by physical proximity rather than automated feeds. You parked next to a classic Fox body Mustang, struck up a conversation with the lowrider owner, and swapped technical advice with someone running a tuned Acura Integra. Information circulated like a live bulletin board. If someone needed a spare cylinder head or a hand installing custom coil springs, they didn't post in an online group. They asked around the circle under the hum of the light poles. It was a self-governing community where knowledge was traded person to person, creating a genuine sense of belonging that cost nothing more than a tank of gas. A 16-year-old rolls into the lot, headlights catching the exhaust smoke of a dozen idling engines. This is the classroom. Here, an older regular gestures for the newcomer to take the outer ring first, explaining the unwritten law: look all you want but never touch the paint. Respect the build is the baseline of survival. Under the amber glow, self-taught builders prop open hoods, pointing flashlights at custom carburetors or freshly bolted turbo kits, translating mechanical mysteries for teenagers holding their first wrenches. Information moves through paper and magnetic tape. Organizers hand out photocopied zines like the Parking Lot Gazette and flyers Xeroxed at local libraries detailing the next meet or outlining basic etiquette. Keep speeds under 15 miles per hour and limit the revving. VHS cassettes, recorded on heavy shoulder-mounted camcorders and copied VCR to VCR, circulate through trunks, preserving the shaky footage of local cruise nights like sacred relics. Between food court runs for cheap sodas and trading a spare set of lowering springs for a used head unit, belonging is forged in the grease on your hands. Passing the informal first lap test earns you a hand-drawn badge sticker for your windshield, a physical passport into a world where status isn't bought, but earned one conversation at a time. Under the high-pressure sodium lamps, a polished Mazda RX-7 with factory-clean paint sits inches away from a primer gray Honda Civic running on mismatched steel wheels. Nobody cares about the difference. A teenager with a stock daily driver is there to learn how to wire a tachometer, while the veteran builder with the fully built motor stands nearby, offering advice. The lot thrives on this mix of energy. People show up for different reasons, some to show off, some to flirt, some to blast bass from a homemade speaker box, and others simply because they have nowhere else to go on a Friday night. It brings together teenagers from suburban cul-de-sacs and mechanics from the inner city, bridging neighborhoods and generations that otherwise never interact. What keeps this chaotic assembly from collapsing is an informal self-policing hierarchy. The gatekeepers are the regulars, the older guys who have parked in the same corner every weekend for years. They enforce the unwritten code. No one touches another person's car without permission. No one leans against the quarter panels. No one revs an engine near the family sedans. Status here is not bought, it is earned through repeated presence, a willingness to help a stranger swap an alternator in the dark, and a quiet respect for the effort behind every build, whether it is a hydraulic equipped lowrider, a classic muscle car, or a budget import. It is a messy, loud, and alive world held together only by respect and asphalt. The same open borders that made the parking lot a sanctuary also made it defenseless. As meets grew larger, the self-policing system fractured. A reckless minority began using the crowded lots to show off. Screeching tires, smoke-filled burnouts, and high-speed exits onto public roads replaced quiet conversations. Loud stereos rattled shop windows, and revving engines drowned out the hum of the light poles. Then came the street racing, the occasional fight in the shadows, vandalism, and rising reports of vehicle theft. At Randall Park Mall, a burnout tore through the asphalt near the Magic Johnson Theater, leaving permanent black scars on the pavement. The unwritten code of respect was breaking down. This behavior drew the immediate attention of outside institutions. For store managers and mall developers, a gathering of hundreds of teenagers had become a major liability risk. Property owners feared lawsuits from customer slips, vehicle damage, or bystander injuries. Nearby residents, exhausted by midnight exhaust noise, flooded city halls with complaints. In response, mall management and local police departments shifted from passive observation to active containment. In 1995, the North Randall City Council enacted a strict 10 p.m. parking lot curfew to target after-hours loitering. 3 years later, in 1998, Rolling Acres Mall banned vehicle congregation, authorizing security guards to disperse any idle groups. Concrete barriers went up to block off vacant sections of asphalt. Speed bumps and security cameras were installed under the light poles. Tow-away zones were aggressively enforced, and police cruisers began staging at the entrances. The crowd that once found a home on the asphalt absorbed the collective punishment of these new rules. The era of the open, free third place was being systematically shut down. Even if the police cruisers had stayed away, the very ground beneath the tires was shifting. By the mid-2000s, a quiet economic erosion emptied the structures behind the light poles. Anchor tenants packed up, department stores boarded their windows, and suburban landmarks like movie theaters grew quiet as shopping migrated to digital storefronts. Foot traffic dried up, leaving millions of square feet of parking space silent. At Rolling Acres Mall, the 7,000-car lot sat empty, eventually bulldozed for Amazon's massive Project Carney distribution warehouse. Randall Park Mall suffered the same fate as asphalt cleared for a logistics hub. Across the country, these open-air town squares were systematically redeveloped or converted for industrial shipping. Car enthusiasts lost their physical foundation. The suburban third place was paved over for progress. Car culture survived, but it fragmented. The search for community migrated from physical lots to the digital grids of Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Spontaneous midnight gatherings were replaced by structured cars and coffee events, or private meets where strict venue rules dictated behavior. Commercialized car shows charging $10 to $30 a ticket stepped in where the free third place once stood. This changed the rhythm of the hobby. Instead of spending hours in face-to-face conversation under the light poles, enthusiasts pivoted to quick, highly curated content capture designed for online feeds. The modern scene became instantly visible to millions, yet increasingly isolated. The spontaneous invitation of the open asphalt was gone, traded for a highly polished, performative digital stage. Today, those quiet parking lots represent more than a lost hobby. They are the graves of our last free suburban sanctuaries. We can scroll past endless builds online, but we can never download the real magic of simply belonging. Share your memories of the lots in the comments below.